everybody, welcome back. It's Colonel Cash here again. I hope you're enjoying the videos and modules and training we've done so far. Today we got a big topic to talk about: student loans. The rules for student loans have changed recently. There's changes that are going into effect from May that'll be implemented the end of this month in August, and it's going to affect a whole lot of people. And let me just get started by telling you how many people have student loans out here. There's 43 million Americans with student loans. That's 15% of the whole population, and that's a much higher percent if you take out underage children that couldn't have gone for higher education or trade or tech school or whatever. 43 million people owe $1.8 trillion to the federal government for student loans. That is more money than we spend on national defense or healthcare, Social Security over several years. The average debt, if you've got your student loan, which again, a lot of you do, $38,000 is the average outstanding debt right now. And most people do start with 10-year repayment plans, but the reality is it takes 20 years for most people to pay off their student loan. So $1.8 trillion growing in interest every month for 40 million people, and it takes longer to pay off. And with the proportion of people that have loans that are delinquent or defaulting, it's almost half right now. One thing about student loans is they stay around, so 20% of people that have student loans right now are over 50 years old. If they finish college in their early 20s or their grad school, they've had these loans for 20 and 30 years. There are a few million people over 60 years old that still have, it's almost 2 million people, over 60 years old that still have student loans that are active. That's unbelievable. They've been paying on these things for 40 years, so we don't want to do that. So one thing I also noticed when I was doing my homework is there are still people who actively think that they get canceled automatically when you turn 60 or 65 or 70. There's no such thing. There's no aging out program. There never has been an aging out program. The only way you age out and stop paying is when you die. Then you no longer own it. You either paid your loan or you died and it was forgiven. So this is a lifelong thing. Also, two things you can never bankrupt if you file personal bankruptcy, most people don't know this, is taxes you owe and federal student loans. You can bankrupt and save your house, your car, whatever your business. You cannot bankrupt that. That balance will still be there. Like I said, it's a stronger commitment than marriage. It's going to be there till you die. There's no way out. So federal loan collection was frozen for a little bit after we had COVID and the market got hurt and people couldn't work. And so many students are waiters and waitresses and things that couldn't work because restaurants were closed. Truly out of business. The businesses were failing, all kinds of stuff. You all remember. So there was a pause on student loan payments that was supposed to last 3 years. It went from 2020 to 2023. You didn't have to make a payment and no one would come after you. That ended. Now, Joe Biden, when he was president, extended it to 2025, but that ended in January this year. Now, as of, I think it was May 5th, the Department of Education put out a news announcement saying these are no longer frozen. You're going to have to start making your payments. And in a few months, listen to this, in a few months, we're going to come and pursue you and start taking steps to get you to pay your loan. So if they're delinquent, your grace period is up. And by the way, less than 30% of people made a student loan payment during that freeze, where it was optional, but 3/4 of Americans didn't make a payment at all. So there's a lot of people who are delinquent. Now that 3-year freeze went through 5 years and it's expired, you need to start making your payments again. Well, a lot have already not done it. So 3 months ago, again, the Department of Education said, we're coming after you if you haven't made your payments lately. People look at student loans right now. It's not a very expensive way to borrow money to go to college. If you have good credit, you'll get about a 6.5% interest rate currently. If you have poor credit, they can give you smaller loans, but much bigger interest rates, up to 15 or 17%. Truly, there's nothing you should ever borrow at 15 or 17%. If you can't afford to pay for the school, you can't go into that kind of debt to try to get out or set yourself up and then have to dig out of that as soon as you finish college. We'll get into more of that later, but that's the rate. So some people with poor credit, go to their parents and say, hey, mom, dad, whoever, I need you to help me out. Can you take the student loan out on my behalf? Which is perfectly fine and legal to do. Student loan companies charge them a higher interest rate. I'm not sure why, but their average interest rate be 8.5%, and yours is 6.5%. You're the higher risk. I don't know why they do it to them, but that is the reality of the situation. So an example, you're thinking about starting college, or you're going to have a few more years left and you think you'll need 3 or 4 years of loans. Let me tell you, if you run up a $10,000 or $12,000 amount each year, it's books, tuition, it's activities, it's all kinds of things. At the end of 4 years, you have $50,000 in loans. You can defer payments till after you graduate, which people do. And then there's sometimes periods you can defer a little while afterwards to get your first job. But all that does is raise up your payments. So if you graduate college next month, and then a month later start working, and you suddenly have to start paying your student loans because they're waiting for you. It's a nice graduation gift. $50,000 loan is going to cost you about $625 a month for the next 10 years. $625, that's payment. So you graduated last week. By the next week, you probably don't have a job that's giving you an extra $600 just for that, because that's outside of your housing or your rent or your food or your car, right? $600 bill. That is a lot. And if you pay that $600 on time, every time, for 10 years, it'll be gone. Congratulations. But do you know you actually spent $75,000 for the total of that loan? So you paid $75,000 to pay off a $50,000 loan. That's not really good math for people. It's hard to get out under a rock if a rock keeps getting bigger and then you start paying and it's just that much. That's a heavy burden. You see, my whole series here is what's affecting people in their lives. I tell you that I want you to take command of your money so you control your life, so you can make decisions, to have things you want to have, achieve what you want to achieve, take care of your family you want to take care of. All of these things start with this responsible money management. So I'm going to tell you a story of one of my friends years ago, coworker, who got into a bad bind, and his marriage got into a bad bind because of student loans. So he took out this loan to pay for his kid who went to a special engineering school. The kid had decided he wanted to be a mechanical engineer, and this is a 5-year degree program that sort of gets your undergraduate and master's rolled into one, so you can be a certified engineer and make really good money. There's no question. Those certifications, that education at the place he was going to school, that kid was going to be set. He'd be great. Well, and I told you it's a 5-year program. After the 3rd year, he's starting to plan the summer first classes for the 4th year, and he says, Dad, I don't want to be an engineer anymore. He says, what? He says, I don't want to be an engineer anymore. He says, but you're in this whole plan, this program. He says, I just don't like it. And that's just what you have to finish. He said, so you're going to make me finish 2 more years, something I don't want to do, so I could spend the rest of my life doing something I don't want to do? That's not fair, right? That's not nice. But Dad's worried about the money. So, we talked about it at work. And I said, you can't really hold a kid against the wall for a life-changing decision he made when he was 17. He's not unusual to change his interest or his likes when he's 20. And he's actually been there and done it. But the problem is his dad had almost $100,000 in loans already for this school. And he says, I can't pay for it. And so we can't make him stay. He'll just drop out. And this was just said, he was a lot older than me at the time. He was in his late 40s with his wife. They're all financially trying to get settled, but they had spent all their money on their student loan savings. That was exhausted. So he let his kid go back. And by the way, he didn't have 1 more year left. He had 2 more years left because he did this engineering core program and didn't do the basic stuff for regular general studies or business degree. So end of the story is he had to take out a second mortgage on his house. That wasn't going to pay for it. Now he's got worried, losing sleep. The father is, because he wants his son to be happy, but it's affecting him. He had to sell his boat that him and his mom used to use, or him and his wife, the kid's mom, selling his boat, take away some of his happiness because his kid changed his mind and needed these student loans. So this wasn't a story about a kid changing mind. That's another topic for somebody else another day. But it's a real life thing. The student loans changed his life, and he was already signed up into it, and it changed his quality of life and affected the family. And I think there was actually relationship issues later because of those monumental changes to the parents because of the kids changing education. So just want to share that as stuff that makes me not want to get my kids a student loan. Whew. That was a lot. I'm looking at the camera the whole time, except when you look at me. So again, following the theme here with all of my Colonel Cash stuff is to make sure you can have and do what you want, not toys and stuff generally, but you should not have to deny your kids the education that they want because you can't afford it. Even though it happens all the time. Your son or daughter who's ready to go to school should not miss out on the opportunities they have because college is expensive. It's sad that it happens. There's no easy fix for it. You got the smartest kid that gets to go to the best school to have the brightest future, but there's cash transactions involved in there. It just isn't done, we'll say, the right way. The most deserving kids don't always get the chances that they deserve the most or earned, and that's a social issue I can't solve here. But going into debt with student loans to finance something that may or may not pay off for you later just creates a burden for the next 10 or 20 years, or for some people 40 or 50 years that you really don't want to do. So let's talk about alternatives. What else can you do? One, you could go to a cheaper school. Doesn't sound good, but you go to a cheaper school. It's like you go to a cheaper restaurant or buy a cheaper car. Sometimes you just have to. Hey, it's Colonel Cash here again. Today I want to take a moment and thank you, all of you that are listening and watching and leaving comments and likes on these videos. I hope it's helping you out, and at least you get a plan so you can get started, so you can eventually feel like you've got control of your finances and you can do things that you want to do, not just let your money do what it wants to do. So keep doing that. Keep sharing these videos with family and friends. Whenever you leave a comment or ask a question, you're helping me to help you. So let me know, because I really am here to help you. Unless everybody you know is rich and doesn't have a financial worry, you probably know somebody who could use a little bit of help. So for me, what's rewarding is knowing that you're listening, paying attention, and you were able to make some progress. So go out to the Patreon website. You can subscribe to that. It's only $5 a month. $5 a month to get real financial advice from somebody with experience. $5 a month to get some questions answered. $5 a month for someone to give you a real game plan and give you tools so that you can do what you need to do to get where you need to be. That's the whole goal here. And you're going to get extra content. You might get early releases of videos. There'll be extra tips and tricks that not everybody gets. That's not expensive. That's a minor investment. And hopefully, if you're seeing the value of this, we're getting you on a path that you're saving money and making progress. $5 is nothing to you. Just a small amount. It's all going to be in the information below. So just scroll down and look at that, and it'll take you right to where you need to go. Thanks again, friends.